Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Steve Chiama, and I'm the franchise owner for Action Coach here in Fairfax, Virginia. And I'll be your host today of the Business Spotlight podcast. And today I have the pleasure to introduce Manny Cosme, the president and CEO of CFO Services Group, as my guest. And today we're going to talk about Manny's business, his journey into business ownership, some of the challenges, best practices, and share a peek into what it's really like to build and operate a business. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe, get notifications when new shows like this are published. Manny, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Awesome. And please give us a little bit of background about who you are. Tell us a little bit about your business.
Sure. My name is Manny Cosme. I am from the great state of California, Northern California, Bay Area. So that's where I was born, where I grew up, went to college, spent my first few years in my career and whatnot. I majored in accounting in college, so no surprise there because I run an accounting firm now. So I majored in accounting, and then right after college, went to work for a CPA firm, a rather large CPA firm, doing financial statement audits, which were so much fun. Not really, but we specialized in doing audits for labor unions, which was very interesting. It was boring work, but retrospectively, it was interesting that I got to really see the inner workings of labor unions. So I did that for a while. Had a couple other jobs in and out, and then ended up moving to DC. Got a job here, so now I live in the great District of Columbia, and I started a business, and here I am. So that's the that's the very short, abridged version of my life so far.
Well, we're going to unabridge some of it.
Okay, it may take a few hours, but we'll get there.
I don't think it'll take that long, but that's okay. Let's start with a little bit of context so the listeners have an idea of how your business is structured. Solo owner, business partners, outside investors. How are you structured? How you're organized?
Yeah, it's just me, myself, and I. So I'm
Mm.
100% bootstrapped from, the first dollar I made. So yeah, it's 100% me, which is good and bad, I suppose, because I can't go rent to anyone when I have a problem to solve. I got to solve it myself. So yeah.
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 There's interesting. So many people sit there and say, I gotta go get investors and get money so I can get started. And somehow that doesn't seem like that's the logical solution when you
Well,
haven't
money's
proven
nice.
the business out yet.
Yeah, I mean, money's nice, but I'll tell you my quick philosophy on that. The more money you have to burn, the more mistakes you're probably apt to make, because when you don't have money, every dollar counts, and you are much more thoughtful about how you spend that money. And I can personally attest to that, because there was a period of time where I ended up getting a small infusion of capital in the way of loans. And when I was a little more flush with cash, I was a little less discerning about how I was spending that cash,
Yeah.
which led me to some issues that I had to later resolve. Yeah,
Details, huh?
yeah. So
Yeah, awesome. All right. So if I understand, you've got some team members with you in the business.
yeah.
What roles are they playing and what roles are you playing in the business?
Oh, that's a good question. So I run, so I'm president CEO. So my role right now is to pretty much run everything. So I'm running, you know, so I, if anyone out there is listening and they're familiar with EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System, I am acting as the visionary and the integrator right now. So
Hmm.
my role is to move the company forward, capitalize on opportunity, build strong partnerships and whatnot. And then that's the visionary side. And then I'm also playing the integrator side, which is essentially running operations, internal
Hmm.
operations. So I'm also making sure all the trains are running on time. We have quality control. My marketing, sales, administration is on track. Clients are happy, kind of things like that. So that's what I do. I do have someone on my team that does sales and success. So she's our sales and success manager, and that means that she, of course, is closing deals. So I'm still doing a lot of the business development, but when we recognize a prospect, kick it over to her. She brings them through the sales process, closes them, hopefully. And then once they become a client, just make sure that they are feeling successful with us. And if not, she'll jump in and triage that. So that's what she does. I have an administrator on my team, and her role is to make sure that, all the administration is getting done. So bills are getting paid, accounting's getting done, our internal accounting's getting done, HR, IT, kind of she runs a lot of, those aspects of the business.
Hmm.
Super, super important part of the business.
Yeah, they are
But,
super important. Yeah.
make sure she get, that we get paid and whatnot. And then the
Hmm.
rest of my team are the actually fulfillment team members. So they're working with the clients day in and day out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So talking about clients, who's your target market? Who are the best customers for you? If we were out there in the universe, how would a how would somebody know that they were the one they should call you?
Well, everyone should call me. No. There, next question. No. So our target market, so we work with small businesses and nonprofits.
Hmm.
Our key differentiators. One, we work with small businesses. So we're not going, and I classify anything small as under 10 million, which some of you may think is not really small, but that is really small. I mean, I think the
Yeah.
SBA's definition of small business is like under 60 million or something. So, but we're really looking at under 10 million, and a lot of our clients actually are under 1 million in revenue.
Hmm. Yeah. Right.
Which and in fact some of our clients are less than 100,000 in
Hmm.
revenue, so they're true like startup micro businesses, and we have some services that cater to those types of clients like under
Hmm.
100,000. But the vast majority of our clients are probably anywhere from 250 to a few million in revenue, in that sense. So we work with a lot of for-profit businesses, a lot of nonprofits. So about half our clients are nonprofit
Hmm.
organizations, which is
Hmm.
a little bit different than other firms like us.
Hmm.
We work a lot with nonprofits, which have their own unique challenges when it comes to
Yeah.
accounting. We also work a lot with attorneys. That's kind of if I had to pick like our number one industry, it would be nonprofits. Our number two would be probably attorneys, which have their
Okay.
own unique issues as well, managing
Yeah.
their finances, and then just kind of everything else in between. So, yeah.
So attorneys know how to manage their finances?
No, they don't, which is why they come to us. And attorneys have to manage their finances well because there's a little law. If you're an attorney, the IOTA laws out there, and so you can get disbarred if you're not careful with managing money. So we're
Yeah,
really
well,
protected.
you've got a lot of people's money in
Yeah,
in your control. Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
you cannot touch that money. That is a
yeah,
no-no. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's there's a lesson I was giving a business owner yesterday that you in his case he gets paid in advance, and so I was talking to him about you get an agreement, you get payment in advance, and then you start the delivery process. Well, that money's not yours until it's delivered.
That's
He was
right.
deeply struggling with that concept. It's not his money until it's his money. Um, yeah, so there's crossover in a lot of industries there. Cool. Um, what makes you specifically unique? Why would a business owner come to you specifically instead of somebody else?
Well, so that's a great question. So a couple of things. So one, so we primarily do bookkeeping. So we do bookkeeping and CFO advisory work.
Hmm.
So on the bookkeeping side, there's not too many firms of my size that
Hmm.
that are in bookkeeping. So typically, what you see are sort of either solo entrepreneurs, like one person, or maybe a person with a handful of contractors, kind of doing the work.
Hmm.
Or you see large CPA firms that
Hmm.
may offer some bookkeeping services, but it's not really their thing. They do
Hmm.
it just kind of because they've been asked, and so they may have a small bookkeeping team. There's very few firms that are large that have a team of people
Hmm.
that do bookkeeping, and certainly that specialize in nonprofit and attorney, law firm, even retail kind of businesses, because they are more complex. In fact, there are a few other people I know in the bookkeeping industry that will regularly refer clients over to us because they're just too complex. So
Hmm.
we're not afraid to jump in and handle the complex bookkeeping needs of businesses that are growing and whatnot. So that definitely I feel like makes us unique, not only here in DC area, but really across the country, because we have
Hmm.
clients all the way from, here all the way to Hawaii. I mean, really. So we are literally cross country. Um, so that's something that really makes us unique. I think something else that makes us unique, again, kind of looking at our size, is that we are really tech forward. We really, really look to technology to help streamline and solve issues and just get stuff done. And so we really try to leverage technology and introduce new
Good.
technology to our clients because it's really, really helpful, especially in
Yeah.
today's world. So,
Gain efficiencies.
yeah, absolutely. So.
Yeah, yeah. Good, good. So let's talk about the business development side of that. What kind of marketing processes are effective for what you're doing and who you're reaching out to?
Oh, that's a good question. A lot of networking. So, we still, I try to do a lot of networking events, still try to have boots on the ground. But obviously that only works here in the DC area where I'm at.
Hmm.
Nationwide, we have a marketing firm that helps to, send our message out. So we do, our social media.
Hmm.
We have a newsletter that goes out once a week.
Hmm.
And one thing that works really well for us is actually Google Ads. Google Ads
Ah,
has
very
proven
good.
to be incredibly effective for us in
Hmm.
reaching a large market
Hmm.
where we're not, physically present. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, so that's
Is that normal or is it kind of unusual for a CFO kind of firm to be doing that kind of reaching out process? Google AdWords.
no. You mean Google Ads? No, I think
Yeah.
that's actually no. I think it's well. Well, let me caveat say, I think it's unusual for an accounting firm, period, to be doing marketing. For whatever reason, there seems to be an aversion to that.
Yes.
So, so across the board, yeah, there's accounting firms doing, especially bookkeeping firms. Again,
Yeah.
we're talking like either large CPA firms or one person kind of, shops. They're not really doing a lot of marketing from what I can tell.
Hmm.
But Google Ads is incredibly effective for us for sure.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool. Cool. I'm going to switch directions a little bit.
sure.
Why'd you decide to go into business in the first place?
I like to say I was crazy, which is
That's a
true.
piece of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a piece of it.
Yeah.
No, so I do come from an entrepreneurial family.
Hmm.
So my grandfather he was a serial entrepreneur, doing a lot of like handyman work. So he had like a
Hmm.
painting company, and he would go paint people's houses and sell, like, you know, sofas and kind of things like that. So he did a lot of that. So he kind of had his own business. And I'll caveat to say the reason why he had his own business was because this was a long time ago and the world was a different place. And he was I'm Puerto Rican by ethnicity, and just people would not hire people that were not, quote unquote American, whatever you want to call that. He was very dark skinned, and so there was a lot of racism and whatnot. And so the only way he could make money was to go do his own thing, and he
Hmm.
did it through being manual labor. Um, so he was an entrepreneur. My father also became an entrepreneur because he likewise had a hard time getting jobs and whatnot. And so
Hmm.
he said, I'm just going to do my own thing and learn. So he actually taught himself accounting. So he actually was an accountant.
Hmm. Good. Good. Good.
And
Good.
so, yeah, so I grew up sort of with those influences, kind of just, putting in your mind that, if you want to make something of yourself in this world, you're going to have to do it yourself. And so my dad to this day still has a small accounting practice in our home.
Okay.
Yeah. And
When.
so growing up, that was in there. So I ended up going to work corporate, like I said, corporate accounting. But shortly after doing that, I ended up joining my dad in his business. And I did that. We actually did that for a few years where I helped him run
Hmm.
his business.
Hmm.
Ultimately, that did not work out. Our personalities clashed too much. I ended up starting my own uh, payroll company in my hometown and did
Okay.
that for a few years and ended up selling that to ADP actually. So it was a
Okay.
really interesting experience to go
I'll
through.
bet.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting. After that, I went back to work in organization, which ultimately led me to getting a job here in DC in-house. I was the in-house CFO for the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So that's how I ended up moving to DC. And then after doing that for a few years in-house, that's when I decided I really didn't want to go back on my own. Like I said, it was just sort of like instilled in me, I guess, to have
Hmm.
your own business. And so I really just wanted to go off on my own again. And that's when I started this company. And here I am. So that again is the abridged version of,
Of course. Of
yeah.
course. What did you learn from the ADP acquisition process?
Have a good attorney if you ever want to sell your business.
Ah,
Say
that
that.
is a good one. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a
actually.
good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was luckily I had a really great attorney who became a really good friend, helped me through that deal. But what I learned, yeah, I mean, I learned that, and don't be afraid to get into conversations with people. What I learned is that people will want to buy your business, and even today, like probably once a week, I'll get a call and, hey, do you want to sell your business and whatnot? So, businesses are assets, right? And
Ah, that's one of the things I was looking for. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it is an asset, and you start a business, you run your business, hopefully you make money from your business, but it is not a job, right? A
Yeah.
business is not a job. You can go get a job and you can make money. Sometimes you can make more money from a job,
Yeah.
but it is also an asset. And so at the end of the day, it is something that you can sell. It's like a home, right? At some
Very
point, you're
good.
probably going to sell it. And so you should always keep that in mind from day
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
That day may be 40 years from now, 50 years from now, but
Hmm.
you should always keep that in mind because ultimately it is something that you're gonna at some point need to give away or sell or whatever.
There's
Yeah.
an end date someplace.
There's an
Which
end
way do
date.
you, which version of an ending do you want it to be? There's a handful of choices.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I've also something else that people don't realize is if you have a business and you do sell it, it does not mean that you stop. Like often when you sell a business, depending on who you sell it to, whoever acquires you is going to want you to actually continue working in the
Hmm.
business, just in a different capacity. So you may not own the business anymore, but you may still work in it. So for example, if I was to sell my company today, I would probably still in some capacity run my company. Maybe I would just be focused more on business development or sales and not
Hmm.
the day-to-day operations. Someone else would take that over. So that's also something interesting to think about.
Yep. Very
Yeah.
good. Very good. When you decided to go into business again this time, what were you hoping to get out of it?
Well, I was hoping to make money, so that's good. That's
Hmm? Did you have a number in mind?
I have a number in mind on what I want to sell it for one day.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
Very
it
good.
would be a
Yeah.
few million, a nice a nice 7 or 8 figure number would be
Okay.
nice.
Good. Good.
Maybe a
Good.
high seven number would be nice. But yeah, no, I really, I guess I'll also say, I went into business because business is, well, we were just talking about challenges right before we started this. Business is challenging. And one of the things I can say is that having a business really it will get you to learn more about yourself than you may
Mm,
know. It's probably akin. I don't have children, but it's
mm,
probably akin to having children.
mm,
They will often teach you things, so I'm told, or having a puppy or whatever, it'll often teach you things about yourself that you may not realize. Well, having a
mm-hmm,
business will definitely open your eyes and challenge you in ways that you may not be challenged. It really is like giving birth to something. And so I do enjoy the challenge
mm-hmm,
that business brings and the challenge of growing it.
mm-hmm,
It is it's almost like a puzzle. It's fun in a lot of ways,
mm-hmm.
figuring out how I'm going to solve this issue and how I'm going to kind of move to the next level.
Yeah.
Um,
Good.
so
Good.
I'm a big video gamer. I love playing video games,
Mm-hmm.
and right, like I love playing games and doing puzzles and whatnot. And so I almost see business as like a game that I'm trying to like.
Yeah, that's a good paradigm, actually. If you can keep that in mind, that means you're not married to always doing it one way.
Right,
And
exactly.
if you're married to doing it one way, you're stuck.
Yeah.
You can't move past that stage. Yeah, that's a good. Excellent, excellent. Along that vein, what's the most memorable of the hurdles you've learned how to overcome?
Oof, there have been quite a few hurdles. So I will say that a few years ago, maybe 2017, 2018 or so, kind of one of the biggest first challenges I ever really faced in my business was around technology.
Hmm.
At that point, I had not embraced technology as probably as quickly as I should have, and a lot of our clients we were supporting were on QuickBooks Desktop, accounting, so QuickBooks Desktop. And really, the market had shifted from desktop to online, and there was a lot more online solutions coming on, and a lot more financial technology coming out. And I hadn't embraced it as quickly as I should have. And as a result, we started losing clients because
Mm.
a lot of our clients were moving to more of a tech forward solution. And I, for whatever reason, was resisting it. I don't know
Hmm.
why, but I guess I had a resistance to it. And probably I just didn't want to learn new systems and whatnot. And as I started to lose clients, I lost a lot of clients in a very short amount of time. And I realized, like, I need to get on top of this. I can't let this happen anymore. I really
Hmm.
do have to be at the forefront of this market. And that was a huge
Hmm.
light bulb, slap in the face, whatever you want to call it, of like, if I'm going to run a business, I really need to be on top of industry trends. Like, I
Ah,
need to be at the forefront of that, or I will be left behind. And so,
awesome.
I will pivot that to what's happening today and AI and whatnot. You better believe that I am all over that. I am watching it. Literally this morning, I was playing around with AI agents and,
Hmm.
trying to create a new agent that can help on the CFO side and whatnot. So I'm really, really trying to be on top of AI technology as much as possible and leveraging it with our clients.
Just guessing with my somewhat limited knowledge of accounting, I gotta believe that AI can be an awesome support tool in making CFO decisions and recommendations.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because AI can often spot patterns that you
Hmm.
don't with the human eye, right? So it's a
Hmm.
tool. It's like anything else. Will it replace humans? Probably not. There's a
We
lot
got a
of
ways
room
to
to
go for
learn.
that. Yeah, yeah,
I think we got a ways to go if it can
yeah.
ever truly do it, because even with financial work, so oftentimes there's a lot of emotion and what
Hmm.
psychology built into that. It's not like, well, just go cut your expenses and then you'll make money. Yeah, that's great, but
Yeah.
actually making that decision is different.
Really, that might not be the right answer.
Yeah, and it may not be the answer, and often there's multiple
Go
answers,
go
right?
sell more.
Yeah, go sell more, right?
Yeah.
But as a tool, oh, absolutely phenomenal to help
Hmm.
you work through issues. And
Hmm.
even little things like sending an email to a client. I have my team now, really try to run all our client emails through, a GPT or something,
Hmm.
just to clean it up and make it sound a little bit more professional and a little bit more
Hmm.
polished and a little bit more to the point. So as a team, we really try to leverage AI in those kinds of ways just to
Hmm.
be more effective communicators,
Good, good, good. Yeah, but not using it instead of humans, using it
No, of
with.
course not.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised how many people say, "Okay, this magic button is going to do it for me."
Oh yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
interesting because QuickBooks just released their new AI tools within QuickBooks really in the last few weeks. I mean, they've been sort of toying around with it for the few years, but like a few weeks ago, they kind of made a big push into AI, and
Hmm.
so they actually changed the interface quite dramatically. So you log
Hmm.
into QuickBooks now, and it doesn't look like it did a few weeks ago. They
Yeah,
really
I noticed.
yeah. So along with that, they built a lot of AI technology into QuickBooks. But I gotta tell you, is it a little better? It's a little better.
Mm.
It's still not all
Mm.
the way there, though.
No, I haven't seen where it makes my the amount of keystroke count to do a transaction doesn't feel like it's changed any number of. It hasn't improved my efficiency. Let's put it that
Right.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we're getting there.
Cool. 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 Along that vein, what's your approach to goal setting?
What is my approach to goal setting?
Your
Well,
goals in your business.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I'll say this, and I do tell my clients this, and I do tell people this. You when you start a business, I think at the end of the day, what you have to realize is that it's your business.
Hmm.
And you started that business for a reason, whatever that reason may be, right?
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
may want it to make a lot of money with your business. Maybe you wanted to solve a problem, a challenge. Maybe you wanted to make the world a better place, or maybe you wanted to leave a legacy for
Hmm.
your family, or whatever, right? There's
Hmm.
many reasons why people start businesses. I think what's important is that you never lose sight of that,
Ah, good.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're making goals for your business, you really need to marry those goals to your personal reasons,
Hmm.
your personal goals, right, for
Yep.
your life.
Yep.
Like, and I think that's where a lot of business owners go awry and they get themselves into trouble, is that at some point they lose sight of that.
Yes.
And then the business becomes a burden or it becomes its own thing. And it's not necessarily tied back to the owner of the business who really is the one moving this forward.
Yeah.
So that's the long answer to how I set goals. Is I always think about what it is I'm trying to achieve in my life,
Hmm.
and how can my business, uh, uh, get me there
Yeah.
essentially, right?
Good. Good.
Yeah,
Good. Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Um, what do you see in the future? Looking out 5 or 10 years, where do you see the business?
My business.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, I see us, well, much bigger than we are. So
Hmm.
my BHAG, or my 10-year goal, because we set a 10-year goal, which
Good.
we evaluate every year. Yeah, is
Everybody
to serve.
should.
Yeah, everyone should. I mean, it's your North Star, right?
Hmm.
It's your big, hairy, audacious goal, if you read that. And so our BHAG is to serve over 1,000 clients in the U.S. In and have at least one client in all major U.S. markets. That's essentially our North Star. And so that's also when we're making decisions about, well, how are we going to get there? How are we going to achieve that? We start measuring against that. And so again, decisions that are made with that North Star in mind. And that North Star also helps me in my personal life, because along with achieving that goal comes certain things that I want to achieve as well, personally, in my personal life. So
Should
yeah,
should should make
yeah,
sense that way. Yeah. Cool.
yeah.
Cool. What do you see as the main challenges in that journey in
Oh,
getting to that BHAG?
I have a lot of challenges. I mean, well, if there weren't
Well,
challenges,
okay,
we'd be
so
there
there's a
already, right?
million
Yeah.
little detail challenges. I'm talking about what are the main ones that you're going to deal with?
I feel the biggest challenge in probably any business, to be honest, it's people. It's people.
Mm.
It's the
Hmm.
people. It's
Hmm.
having the right people
Hmm.
in the right seats in your team. So again,
Hmm.
EOS, right? We call it right, right people, right seats. And that to me is probably still has been, is, and will be always the biggest challenge. It's getting the right,
Uh-huh.
because if you get the right people on your team,
Hmm.
you can solve pretty much any challenge, right?
Hmm.
Any process challenge, any technology challenge, any client challenge, any marketing sales challenge, right? You get the
Hmm.
right people on your team, you can solve all of those.
You got to get out of the way.
You got to get out of the way, and you got to get out of the way and let the people do their thing. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
so so I guess I should say that also means you got to be the right person in the right seat on your
Oh,
team, right?
details. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
you
yes.
got to be the right person in the right seat.
Yeah.
So,
Or learn to be the right person.
or learn to become the right person. Sure. Yeah, and
Exactly.
that evolves over time.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that in mind, and that's a great segue into this question, what's your approach to recruiting and hiring?
My approach to recruiting and hiring, one, if we hire, which actually we're doing right now, I do work with recruiters. It is
Hmm.
helpful, because there's a saying that, and this isn't entirely true, but it's kind of true, that if someone is looking for a position, they may not necessarily be the right person. So often,
Of course.
the right person that joins your team is someone that's already employed, like already has something going on, right? Especially the higher up you get and the more intricate positions and more executive level positions you need. Often those people, the right people, are not on the market. They're off the
Hmm.
market,
Hmm.
but they may be open to a change if the change is right. And so
Hmm.
I will work with recruiters to help find those people and bring them on the team. So today my team is not, I don't have as many leadership roles filled in my team, but
Hmm.
a few years ago I did actually. I had actually several
Hmm.
leadership roles filled on my team. And all of those people essentially I found through recruiting channels, and then they end up
Hmm.
getting recruited away, which is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But which is the way it goes. And I
Yeah.
opted not to replace them, and that's a whole other story. But they did come through recruiters, and so I try to use that. That also just saves you a ton of time and effort because it's hard to find people. It's challenging to find people,
Hmm.
bring them through the interview process. It's just very time consuming.
Hmm.
And so if you can work with a good recruiter that has a good base or can find people, they're like worth their weight in gold. So
Yep. Yep. Good. 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 Picking from that, let's pretend you were going to restart your business on Monday.
yeah.
What would you do differently,
What would
knowing
I
what
do?
you know now?
What would I do differently? I would start with building really strong technology and processes and procedures.
Mm.
That would be my number one. And I would not be so quick to let go of certain roles. So I kind of alluded to, like, I had a leadership team a handful of years ago, which is
Hmm.
probably the second biggest challenge I ever went through. Um, uh, Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, whatever. One of the lessons I learned was I let go of things too quickly.
Mm.
When they weren't quite ready, and so I equate it to I baked half a cake. I stuck the cake in the oven and then I passed the baton on to someone else and said, "Hey, watch this cake and make sure it bakes properly. And if you need to fix it, make sure quick." And it just wasn't happening. And so I'd be a little bit. I would build stronger procedures and technology to back up those procedures
Hmm.
before I moved on, and that's which is what I'm doing now. So
Hmm.
I would do that all over again. So what I'm doing now is exactly what I would do if I would start a business over
Yeah,
again. But I
that
had to learn
makes
a
sense.
lot of lessons to get to where I'm at today.
Yeah, no, 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 no. That makes sense. That's awesome. Okay. This this is great, dude. You've got some good insights here.
Yeah.
S- So we're getting close to wrapping up. So before we do that, let's try a couple of rapid fire questions. So
Okay.
kind of off the cuff stuff.
All right.
What's the key to success for you?
Key to success: listen to other people and ask your team. Ask a lot of questions and
Good.
yeah, and listen
Good.
to what people have to say.
Yeah, good. They've got insights. That's good.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
What if we were sitting in a coffee shop and finishing up and somebody walked in who's just getting starting to talk about getting ready to start their business? What's one piece of advice you would give that person?
Um, be clear about what it is you want and why you want it.
Hmm.
Because again, your business it will have to mold to that. It will get you
Hmm.
there, but you got to mold it to that. So,
Okay. You might have already answered this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What's one book you are reading now or have read recently that's had impact on how you're driving your business forward?
oh, there's a lot of really great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Probably if I had to pick one, the most influential book I've ever read is probably the E-Myth. E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Yeah. Good book. Yeah. It
Yeah,
is.
actually,
That's a good starting book. Yeah.
yeah, in fact, quick story. My business coach. Oh, so that's the other thing. Have a business coach. But what my very first business coach, she actually came from eMyth. She was one of their
Hmm.
top coaches, and she actually is my salesperson now. So I
Oh,
convinced her to
awesome.
leave eMyth. She's now with me. She runs our sales and success. She actually
Awesome.
came from eMyth. So, but that is single-handedly the most influential book I read. Second book, Traction,
Oh, yeah.
is
Okay.
EOS book.
Yep. Yep. Good. Awesome. So you've had a great journey going down this road. You're making progress. What are you most proud of in the business so far?
That we're still here.
That's a
Hey,
credit.
we're still here. No, it's good. And no, and we're still here. Um, we have a phenomenal team,
Hmm.
which took a long time to put together.
Hmm.
We have a great team, great processes. We're humming along, we're
Hmm.
growing, and we're growing slowly, but we're growing smartly. And I'm
Hmm.
really excited and proud about
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Cool, cool, cool. Flip side of that question, if you had a magic wand that you could significantly improve just one thing in your business today, what would it be?
I mean, we have more clients, I guess. I would love to have
Fair
more
enough.
clients
Sure.
now, but I say that tongue in cheek because we did go through a period where we grew too fast. That was another lesson.
Mm,
Don't grow too fast
mm,
because things will get away from you and you will end up in trouble. And that's exactly what happened to me.
mm-hmm,
While I want more clients, I want them slowly. I want to slowly grow, or at
mm-hmm,
least, grow in a clip that we can handle, which as you grow, you can exponentially grow and that's fine. But, you got to know the pace at which you can grow and you got to
mm.
honor that. You got to honor that.
Yes. Yeah. Helpful less is where the processes and procedures really, really come into play, is
Yeah,
they can help that process be a lot easier, shall we say.
for
Cool.
sure. For sure.
Most important question. If How would people get in touch with you? How would you want them to contact you if they wanted to know more?
Oh, it's easy. Well, there's our website right there, cfoservicesgroup.com. So that's
Hmm.
always a great place. You can
Hmm.
connect with me on LinkedIn. Just find my name, Manny Cosme. And that's probably the two best ways to get in touch with
Cool.
me. LinkedIn
Cool.
is great. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good tool.
yeah.
It's Yeah, very good. What's most inspiring to you today?
What's most inspiring to me? People that live their truth and they're not afraid to say how they feel and think, whether you agree with them or not. I think that is very inspiring when people have integrity.
Hmm.
Integrity would be the word.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of people in a lot of high positions that do not have integrity, and we won't have to get into politics. But there's a lot of people I don't feel have integrity, and so when someone actually says what they really feel in me, I mean, whether you agree with it or not, I think that's honorable.
Honest and straightforward.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool. Very good. This has been an awesome conversation. You've shared a lot of good tips and I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
yeah. Thank
Um,
you.
and I appreciate being vulnerable. You've shared a few things inside too. So very good. Um, and for all of you watching, I encourage you to come back and watch it again. Manny has done a really good job of sharing business insights, and coming from a CFO firm, that's a really valuable commodity, is where to look for opportunities. And he's given us some good hints and clues along the way. So that's very good. So thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications every time a new conversation comes along. And thank you to everyone who's joined us today. And a special thanks to Manny for sharing so much of what's been going on in his business for the last few years.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
for having me.
You're very welcome.
All right.